Step into the arena where legends come alive. With Ryan and Sacktown, it's the place to thrive. Nate's Rhino and Jerry, the trio's got the crown. When the Kings hit the court, watch the magic go down. In the Kings court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the Kings shining star. Expect the unexpected, this is where it's at. From NBA insights to the latest chit-chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the Kings court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the Kings shining star. Horse with the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the Kings court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the Kings shining star.
Telling me there's a chance.
We
Yeah!
have a game 7 on Sunday. Jerry Reynolds predicted it a couple of weeks ago here on the show. Look, you're either in one camp or the other. This is the greatest NBA Finals or it's the worst. If you're looking at the ratings, it's probably going to tip that way. You're going to make your decision off of that if you're going ratings alone. But for the Thunder being so good historically, both with plus minus, defensive efficiency, turnovers into offense, to have the Pacers and the numbers in this series so even, it's insane. Let me just tell you really quick. And by the way, court's in session. Welcome into Royal Rumble Friday, meaning you can come in and talk about anything you want to talk about. I'll put the link in the chat right now. You can use that to call. We'll have Adam later on. We'll be doing our wrestling segment. Goldberg, spare me. I can't wait to get Adam's thoughts on that. We're still waiting on an explanation from Haunted Horse. Details still emerging there, so we'll get into that here in a little bit. But as I was saying about this matchup, the Pacers have had 598 possessions. 598 possessions. The Thunder have had 599 possessions. Pace, 99.75 for the Pacers. 99.75 for the Thunder. You can't make these stats up. The Thunder, a +1 net rating in this series. The Pacers, a -1 net rating in the series. This is arguably the greatest finals of all time. And in my lifetime, I mean, if you are a basketball purist and understand where I'm coming from, if you like the adjustments, you like the physical play, you like the intricacies of the mid-range, the chess match between the coaches, this is everything you wanted and more. So the Pacers force a game 7. We'll get into that more. Jalen Williams goes from 40 points in game 5 to a -40 in game 6. We've got audio from last night, which we will play. We've got the international audio, which is always fun to hear as well. And I titled the show All Time Bluff because that's exactly what it is. I mean, did you see Hallie? You looked great. The Pacers, gamemanship. I love it. Spreading around a strained calf. That calf probably, and I'm not a doctor, but I'm guessing that calf's not strained. So he looked really good last night. And here's the thing about that type of injury, those soft tissue injuries. I know Tyrese said, hyperbaric chamber, therapy, needles, etc. What we used to call vitamin T, which is the painkiller that they put in you via injection. It just does not work well with soft tissue injuries. So anyways, we will talk more about that. More importantly, this is kind of a crappy way to start the show, but it's where we have to start. Vlade Divac was in a motorcycle accident. If you've not heard by now, he is okay. Happened on the 19th. He suffered a hip injury, a broken hip, amongst other scraps. It's not like they pay me to talk here, along with other scratches and scrapes, but bad enough to where they did a hip replacement on him. So they're reporting he's doing well. My 2 cents on this, and I told Grant as well, because I've been through it. I had fractures in my hips before my hips were replaced. Vlade's assuming, and a big dude, much more wear and tear on his body than mine. But the recovery should be easier from a standpoint of it being replaced rather than recovering from a fracture. So wishing him the best. Scary stuff. I know that has been circulating amongst Sacramento, and obviously Grant extremely close with Vlade. So I'm sure Napes will have an update here tonight. You can join him 8 o'clock Pacific. Come spend your Friday night with him. I know you got a big taste of him last night. First time in a couple of days because he was off for his birthday, which that was a fun show we did. Little celebration, some of my more memorable moments when I think about Grant. So hit him up tonight, 8 o'clock. We'll see if there's anything new on Vlade, but wishing Vlade and his family the best. Scary stuff. But I will say, again, not a doctor, going off of my experience, the hip replacement procedure, especially at Vlade's age, it's not as serious and crazy as you think. So either way, successful surgery, he's recovering. The heist of the century to me, Adam, there's your wrestling little nod, tip of the cap. The Pacers, they bluffed. They bluffed with Tyrese's injury. I'm not saying that he's not hurt, but I think they kind of played it up a little bit. Game time decision. He sure as heck didn't look like a game time decision to me. And here was him getting on the airplane today. Look at this walk.
T-H-O, 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 T-H-O. Let's go, Reese.
Looking pretty good to me. Don't see much of a limp.
That's our superstar.
He even brought the food.
That's our superstar.
Don't know about that. So the Pacers heading back to OKC, looking good in the legs. He looked the best probably to date. Maybe one other game he looked better last night, but an incredible performance by the Pacers, which we expected. I thought this one was going 7. I thought that guys would step up. TJ McConnell, I put this out on social media. If the Pacers win the title, I know it won't happen. It's going to be Siakam. It's going to be Hallie. But isn't there an argument that TJ McConnell is the MVP of the finals? It's incredible how TJ McConnell can get rebounds over Isaiah Hartenstein. He can get his shot off anywhere he wants in the paint, being contended. and guarded, hand in the face. He's still able to elevate enough to get it off. And more importantly, what he's done is he has opened the floor for Tyrese Halliburton. He's opened the floor for everybody else on the floor. But going back to Oklahoma City is a completely different story than what you saw last night. Those role players that struggled for OKC, they're probably not going to struggle. That is a hard place to play. So, simple question, who you got? You don't have to tell me right now, but what are you thinking? What's going to be the key this one? I know that the Thunder probably will not turn the ball over the way they did last night. And another thing that I tweeted it out while watching the game that was incredible to me is you are 6 games, well, 5 games, five and a quarter games into the NBA Finals. And Coach Carlisle was able to switch the defense up enough to make enough of an adjustment to confuse the Thunder. I've already said these are the best IQ teams in the league, bar none. Like when you're 6 games in, when you are 6 games in and the other team's coach acknowledges that the guys needed a second to recalibrate to that adjustment, that blows my mind. Rick Carlisle, maybe the most underrated coach of my generation. I don't know. I mean, you finish it off here, you've got to put him in the conversation of greatest coaches during my lifetime. But 48 minutes stands between that and an NBA title for both teams. Hallie should be good to go. Can you get that same production, though, from your bench? The bench last night was incredible for Indiana. Absolutely incredible. 48 points off the bench. We've also got Boogie Cousins to cover today. Before I get to that, I want to get to you as well. Here is your audio wrap up of the game last night, and then we'll listen to that second quarter. And by the way, if you're watching that game and you've played basketball in your life, when Siakam hits that shot at the end of the half to just cap that runoff, to me, I knew the game was done. That's like when you're at Cal Fit, that's when you're at 24 Hour, wherever you go to play your basketball and you're doing pickup games and there's a team on the court that you know just isn't going to get off the court. That's what that was. It's like, good night now. It was done. But there was a good second quarter run that we'll cover here in a few minutes. But first, here were your audio highlights for last night's game.
Out on the right, getting a high screen from Turner, dribble. Oh, he's going to take a long three, rising and connecting. Third three-pointer for Tyrese Halliburton, playing less than 100%.
Aaron Williams, 16 points, throws it away. Halliburton comes up with it. Cross-court, Siakam for the slam. The magic carpet ride for the Pacers is not over. They'll play for an NBA title on Sunday night in Game 7.
Yes, they will. Mike Breen there finishing off the call. Connor, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Everything goes back into the channel, so we really appreciate that. How different would the Kings be if Halliburton didn't get traded? It's a great question. It's something that we've kicked around for a couple days here on the Kings court during the playoffs. It's, would you have this level of a player here in Sacramento? I don't think Hallie would be the Hallie that you see in Indiana for a couple of reasons. The organization, number one, they brought him in and they told him from day one, we're building around you. We're going to get you what you need, but we're building around you. Indiana is a top 3, 4, 5 ran organization and respected in the NBA. So having that type of security, having players that want to play there, and then on top of that, having Hallie, who really is a player that I think guys want to run towards. I think they want to play with somebody like that. It makes basketball fun. And a great coach too, in Rick Carlisle. All that put together, I will say this. If he was here in Sacramento, I think he probably would have forced ownership's hand to do something more. I think that Halliburton would have shown more than De'Aaron Fox ultimately did. Now, I'm not saying, again, that Sacramento all of a sudden becomes a place where guys are going to come and Vivek is taking a step back and letting basketball people run the basketball decisions. But I do think Hallie would have probably forced their hand into making some more moves. I mean, you would have had to move De'Aaron Fox. Those two were not going to work together. So it's a good question. I think I'll pose it to you. Are you in a better spot right now? Or I guess, do we have to pose it as the playoff year? Would you have had a bigger high than 22-23? 3 seed in the West, 48 wins. It's a good question. What do you all think? I think he would have been really good. He would have showed that he's a special, Grant calls him a special player instead of a special talent. And I agree with that, actually. You're probably in a better spot. Probably, depending on what you got for De'Aaron Fox. Knowing what we know now with how the Kings just failed to adjust and were reactive rather than being proactive. Yeah, you're probably in a better spot with Halliburton. You probably are. Good question, though. Give me your guys' thoughts on that. What do you think? Good job. John, happy Friday, buddy. Glad you like the intro. Lloyd Christmas, the one and only. So you're telling me there's a chance. So excited for game 7. Do you really? You're holding that ticket, Daniel? Did you put down enough to make them want to buy that ticket back? That's great stuff, man. I love that you have that ticket. That's the exact ticket that I would have taken. If I got into a little bit of action, not really my thing. Because if you get into action, then it changes the way you watch basketball. It completely changes the way you watch basketball. I mean, I've dabbled a little bit with Prize Picks and FanDuel because you get like the free promos, but it changes the way you watch basketball. Hope that pays off for you. Look, there's going to be a team that's going to do it and be able to go into Oklahoma City. Just think about the Pacers' ride this year, this playoff season. It's been nuts. There's no other team that I would probably want walking into Oklahoma City for a game 7 than the Pacers after what we've seen from them. Insane stuff. It's been a ragged finals, in my opinion. Hard fought for sure. All right. Little T. Why is he little TJ? Come on now. He's not that little. If you saw TJ McConnell in person, and by the way, he's like 6'2", 6'3". Come on, little TJ. I don't care what you call him. That man's going to get paid here in this offseason. You better call him paid TJ, rich TJ. I know he's got some miles on the tires, but somebody's going to pay him. Sacramento, maybe, please. Peter, there was no effing list. Fox told ESPN's Michael Wright this past March. There was one team I wanted to go to San Antonio. We've played this out. Rich Paul went on the record during All-Star Weekend and said he approached De'Aaron. I guess Rich Paul looks at his players as chess pieces in the NBA as his chessboard. And he decided that De'Aaron probably would be best in San Antonio. That's where it came from, if you believe Rich Paul. Kind of lines up too with the meeting that happened. Don't want to rehash all that. Why are you talking about Fox? That's what Kings fans do. That's exactly what Kings fans do. We're always going to be talking about stuff like that. Cheesy chance, right? I'm with you. What's up, Flores? Acknowledge you.
Acknowledge me.
There's an argument for TJ to win MVP. I agree. Carlisle is such an X factor. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So really quick, Daniel, you don't have to tell us how much you got on that ticket, but would you sell that ticket right now and cash out if it was in a reasonable offer? Or are you riding that thing all the way through? Think you got to ride it all the way through. He bet Pacers -12 at the half, thought it was a wrap. Yeah, no doubt. You know who got hurt last night were the guys and gals that play the daily fantasy. Nemhard hurt some people last night. I know that for a fact. Still top again. Fox had to bet it before game 6. There you go. What's up, Sacktown Carl? The finals games are boring. See? Both sides of the argument. The games are over by the third quarter. Since teams are living and dying by the three-pointer, something needs to change. Are we watching the same game, Carl? I mean, these teams aren't shooting that many threes, Carl. I respect your opinion. I mean, let me go to the numbers. These teams have been so close. In fact, let's all go to the numbers. Put them up really quick for you. Oh, let me put them up. My whiteboard did not come up. Here we go. So, as I do my haunted horse and stall for time, here we go. Here's the numbers for the series. I think they've been pretty relatively close. How many threes has each team averaged per series? There's only been 78 threes attempted by the Thunder, 108 by the Pacers. In 6 games, it's not much. But look at how close these numbers are. It's creepy. 599 possessions to 598. Pace, exactly the same. This is like the Tebow level of creepy, where he had all the 316s line up in one game. Very hard to get two teams this evenly matched. And anybody coming into the playoffs that thought the Pacers would be able to play Oklahoma City like this would have been called crazy. Absolutely crazy. You might say any team playing Oklahoma City has a chance because of OKC not being there before, them being on the early part, closer to the beginning of their run rather than the end. But turnovers, 50 for the Pacers this series, 48 for the Thunder. I mean, these numbers are so damn close. It's kind of mind-blowing to think on paper and to a degree, because we are at a game 7, these are two evenly matched teams. And they couldn't be more different teams. It's insane. So, and I respect your opinion, but I thought everybody, by the way, that was like, hey, I'm tired of the 3 ball. That's why I'm not watching the NBA anymore. This is this is the opposite of that. This is what is the counterpunch to that, in my opinion. So very good. I like getting the different opinions. It's all good. There you go. Talking about that. Rich Paul. Yeah. Had the same thoughts as you about McConnell getting paid, but he's under contract till 2028. Interesting. Somebody, then Richard Jefferson screwed up. That's the last time I take Richard Jefferson's word. They were talking about how he's going to be a free agent, and that didn't seem right to me either. I'm like, wait, he's going to be a free agent? My bad, y'all. I should have double-checked that. So last night, this was the Indy call of that really great run in the second quarter that was capped off with this Siakam dunk.
Oklahoma City down 18 late in the second quarter of Game 6. Jalen Williams has his pass deflected. Halliburton steals it into the open floor. He got it to Siakam, who threw down the right-hand tomahawk. It's a 20-point lead.
Put him in the basket, Pascal Siakam.
36 seconds left in the half. The crowd in a frenzy now.
Okay, now wait, because this is where it gets really, really eerie. Remember that last sentence. The crowd in a frenzy now. Here is the OKC broadcast.
See, 45 seconds to go. Pass stolen by Halliburton.
Oh, excuse me. That's the national. Let me get you the OKC broadcast. Here you go. No, where's the OKC broadcast? Did it not make it? He literally says this place is in a frenzy to end it. So really funny stuff. So we'll talk some more about the finals. Definitely want to get into that. If you want to drop in, you can hit that link right there. Let's unfortunately turn the page and talk about Boogie Cousins. It was not 2 weeks ago that we were sitting here on this same show, Richard Jefferson on Celebrity Row. Hell yes. Richard Jefferson is so full of himself. It's incredible. Like, I can't, like, the smirks that he, like, when they go into their little hard camera, when they do their intros or their halftime coming back, like, the smirk on his face, it just bugs me. And then the way that he steps over Mike Breen, if I'm Mike Breen, I'm like, I'm not working with that dude again. Period. End of story. I'll just stay to my day job working for the Knicks and calling games with Clyde the Glide. Or Walt Frazier, excuse me. Walt Frazier. So anyways, it was just 2 weeks ago on this show. We were questioning why the hell would a podcast, Run It Back, that is under the FanDuel umbrella, be asking Boogie Cousins for his opinion on Tom Thibodeau being fired. Boogie Cousins, the guy that's ran more coaches and players into the ground. This was 2 weeks ago.
Made some adjustments to their roster, improved the team. But also, everybody's been on record of not being a fan of the way Tibbs, being a fan of Tibbs' coaching style. He kind of runs players into the ground. He overplays them. It's a very, very short lineup, regular season and throughout the postseason run. So, all of these things I also feel played a factor into them, coming up short with their playoff run. So I do still feel it was a bit of an overreaction. But, obviously the Knicks are in a win now mode. They plan on improving this team, taking steps forward. So we'll see what comes from this.
Look, I'm all for guys trying to make their money. Boogie missed out on a lot of money because of injuries, but he also missed out on money because of his attitude. He was his own worst enemy. Don't need to get into all that. It's dumb to get into. Talk about it for days, right? But I'm thinking that day, and those that saw the show, it's like, why would you go to Boogie Cousins, who off the top of my head never played for Tibbs, and get his reaction? Like, it makes no sense to me. There's so many others that you can go get, especially if you're this podcast, Run It Back, right? So we had that whole conversation, and then this happened.
Así me conté yo cuando le dije a mi esposa que me voy de jangueo con los panas y me dice que no. Los fanáticos, tranquilos, muchachos, tranquilos. Ya lo siento.
I'm not excusing the fan behavior. I'm not. But Boogie instigated that. If you have a courtside seat, as long as you're not saying the quote unquote magic word or words, which we don't know exactly what they are, but they definitely exist because you see guys barely say anything. They get 2 texts and they're thrown out of game. You saw Luka, who was joking around with a fan. He gets thrown out of a playoff game, right? So short of that fan saying something along those lines, Boogie should never be putting his hands on a fan. As unpopular as it is, go get security and have the fan removed. So that being said, what happened in the tunnel, that's not cool. But just another ugly situation for DeMarcus Cousins. Time to go into a hole, right? Now it's time to lay out for a while, suspended for the rest of the season. You need to cool off, my man. You need to take a vacation from the media. You just need to lay low. What do y'all think Boogie did? And what do y'all think the Run It Back podcast did? Oh, let's have Boogie back on the show to talk about Kevin Durant and the situation surrounding his possible trade. And then wait till you hear what Boogie reports here on the Run It Back podcast.
Yeah, I agree. And I said this last week. I think let's look at what they did this season, right? Like they won 51 games for the 5 years that Tibbs was there. They made the playoffs. Yeah, they didn't make it to the finals. Yeah, they didn't win.
My bad. Wrong cut. Here you go. Oh, no, we lost the cut. Are you kidding me? That's got to come back. Where is my history? All right. You guys are going to have to wait it out for a second with me as I get this up. Here we go. Got it.
All right, Boogie's still here. I'm just curious what's behind you because you're in Dubai.
Sure, they'll be on this list as well. But when you get to this point, you want to just play somewhere that you want to be. That's all.
It's interesting to me, too, because people get mad at Kevin Durant when he went to.
Let's not sit here and act like it isn't. I mean, Phoenix was a bad situation from jump. They put a team together based off names. It was never a complete, team. It was never a team that made sense. You just put a bunch of scores together and then threw some other names on it and said, go win a championship. That's not how the game of basketball works. And I hate that, this great player has received the type of, negativity around his name when it comes to this Phoenix situation. Like I said, it was never meant for success. So even through all the chaos that happened in Phoenix, and it was a lot of things that happened. It was a lot of things that haven't been reported. I don't want to be the guy to report it, but I've definitely heard of some of the, negative things in the locker room. There was a couple of fist fights. There was a lot going on that obviously carries over into the court. So, for him to be the so-called.
Is that not Boogie Cousins in a sentence? Right there? I don't want to be the one to report it, but there's definitely been a couple of fist fights in the locker room.
A lot going on that obviously carries over into the court. So, for him to be the so-called blame of the negative seasons they've had, I think it's completely unfair.
Hold on. Boogie, are you saying there were fist fights in the Suns locker room amongst the Suns?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely. So with that being said,
that's normal though.
Is it?
Shame on the Run It Back podcast, first off, for having him on. After that situation, are you kidding me? You're going to turn to Boogie Cousins, or you can flip it this way and say what Boogie is doing is so irrelevant that nobody's even going to know about that fight. Like, nobody cares. Nobody knows that he's playing basketball in Puerto Rico. Either way, it is an awful look for the podcast. And how about him sitting here again, injecting himself into a situation that he is starting? He is starting that situation. So now, of course, New York Post jumps in. The Suns were a mess this season, but Kevin Durant is refuting that they were in fistfights in the locker room. Former All-NBA center and four-time All-Star DeMarcus Cousins said on the Run It Back podcast Friday, there were absolutely fistfights in the Phoenix locker room this past season. Quote, I have to contest this 94-footer, end quote. Kevin Durant posted to X in response to Cousins' claims. Quote, this is some bull to throw on us. Yeah. We were trash this year. Ha ha ha. But we never got close to this. Never. Can I just unpack this really quickly for you? And I'm sure you all are unpacking this too. Kevin Durant has been a notorious Twitter guy where he is got 19 burners. He was kind of like Fox where he had some thin skin. He would clap back. But for Kevin Durant to go straight up at it that quick and to acknowledge, yeah, we weren't good, but we were never like that. I'm automatically buying into Durant's side. Automatically. And for Boogie Cousins, what a bad look. Like, does this podcast think that that's how you're going? You already have Michelle Beadle and Lou Williams on the damn podcast. Shams used to be on the podcast. Is this what you need to get ratings, to get views, to get clicks? Some idiot that's not plugged into the NBA, that hasn't been in the NBA in years, that most recently was in a Malice in the Palace in Puerto Rico? You got to have him on to say erratic, stupid things? It's so stupid. Like, what does this guy not get? Like, I almost don't know whether to feel bad for Boogie or get pissed at the podcast. I don't know which one. Or just say, I don't care. All I know is for Kevin Durant to clap back that quick and for Boogie Cousins to sit there and say, well, I don't want to report anything. But yeah, there definitely were some fistfights. And you hear everybody go, what? There was fistfights? What? That's what we're looking for these days?
There was a lot going on that obviously carries over into the court. Things that happened. There was a lot of things that haven't been reported. I don't want to be the guy to report it, but I've definitely heard of some of the, negative things in the locker room. There was a couple of fist fights. There was a lot going on that obviously carries over into the court. So, for him to be the so-called blame of the negative seasons they've had, I think it's completely unfair.
Hold on. Boogie, are you saying there were fistfights in the Suns locker room amongst the Suns?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting.
How rich a Boogie Cousins? How freaking rich a Boogie Cousins talking about another team and their internal fighting after he starts fights with fans and has a history of burying teammates and coaches. Really sad, really stupid. Go away, Boogie Cousins. Go, man. Dude, I swear, you are about this far from having your most respected accomplishment in Sacramento be a freaking sushi roll named after you. Because you got buddy with Taro. Come on, man. trash, man. I'm done listening to anything that Boogie has to say. From this point on, it stops. I'm not going to put him on a platform. And my platform's not even that big, but I'm refusing to do it. You want to learn about Boogie Cousins and the stupid stuff he continues to do, whether it's by his words or his actions, I'm done with it here. Period. End of story. Last time you hear about anything he says with the NBA, because he's so plugged in. An idiot. Go away. Boogie.
You just made the list!
All right. So we said we needed some answers. I think we're going to get some. I talked about Father's Day weekend yesterday. And I would assume this person's coming on to apologize to the audience and apologize to the show for being in handcuffs on Father's Day.
I didn't know there were two holes. I thought it was just the one.
I gotta let him in. I mean, we innocent until proven guilty, right? Innocent until proven guilty. So with his tail between his legs, we have haunted horse in the house.
First of all, I would like to apologize to absolutely nobody. The haunted horse champ apologized to no one. I didn't know there were two holes, my friend. I thought it was just the one.
Okay, so clear the air. And don't give me.
There's the one hole, and there are two holes. They couldn't find. I didn't know there were two holes. They were. I thought it was just the one. That is the hole that they had tunnel vision on, and the key won't fit in there. They could not find this one right there, and of course, I couldn't help them because my hands were behind my back. So your audience does not know the story.
Yeah, so give them like the 2-minute version.
Yeah, I'll do the 2-minute version. All right, so Father's Day / my mother-in-law's 86th birthday, which they were one day apart this year. So we host my in-laws, and we eat dinner, we have birthday cake, and the conversation, we're in the living room, the conversation ends up on something like, I can, if my hands are handcuffed behind my back, I can move them to the front of my body. I can go under my legs. And I said, it was a really neat party trick when I was, in my 20s and 30s. And then we put them on other people and they couldn't do it. And it was ha, 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 ha. And when everyone's drunk, it's funny. So then I'm like, I wonder if I can still do it. So I go upstairs, get these police Smith & Wesson handcuffs, put my hands behind my back, and click them shut. Now I have the key right here. So I tried, and I could not get my hands past my fat ass. They got hung up. I needed about another probably 2 or 3 links to get them front. So I've gained weight since my 20s and 30s. I'm about 20 pounds heavier. So I can't do it. So I hand the key to my wife and I say, okay, take them off. And so she's trying to get the key into there, which we found out from the police.
Wait. How did the police get involved?
Yeah, well, we're getting there. That is how you get them double locked. So if someone can pick locks or whatever, you use this key and you use this little piece on the back of the key to double lock them so that they're doubly locked. Makes it harder to get out of. So anyway, she cannot. My mother-in-law is trying to help. She's helping. Now I start to freak out. For those that don't know, I do have anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and one of the triggers is being trapped. So, elevator, airplane, claustrophobia. So now my wife's like, it's not working, and now I'm starting to lose it. So I have to step aside so I can do my breathing techniques that I learned in therapy to slow down my racing thoughts. And I'm like, anyway, long story short, after about 12 minutes of trying to get out of these, they cannot help me. I'm looking in the mirror I can't see around my fat ass. So I'm like, honey, you got to call somebody. We need to get some help. So she calls. Apparently 911 was my idea. She said I was the one that said 911. So she calls 911. Police, fire, emergency. She didn't know what to say. So she goes, my husband locked himself in handcuffs. Can you please come and let him out?
All on
So
Father's
Double
Day.
horse, Jim.
On Father's
I
Day,
also
yes.
fathered an illegitimate child.
So they show up. First, the fire gets there, and I walk down the stairs, and I hand the fire guy the key, and he's like trying to figure out how. And they did have bolt cutters with them, and then I could hear him say, "Let the pro do it." And so they handed the key to the police officer. He took out his key, which is a key on like a little screwdriver. And so anyway, my mother-in-law is like, we couldn't get to fit. And he's like, no, you were messing with the double lock. And so she's taking pictures while I'm getting let out of handcuffs.
The physical, grinding.
The cops getting me out of the handcuffs. I've got pictures of it. I showed them on my show. If you want to see it, my Monday show. And I have pictures of the fire department. And so I was cracking jokes. I'm like, guys, it is Father's Day. I did not procreate, so you do not have to come out here in 20 years and let my kid out.
It's a complete crap.
The DNA, the stupidity DMA stops with me. I have not bred an offspring. So there you go. That was my Father's Day / mother-in-law's 86th birthday.
Could you imagine it? Everybody in the house running around, haunted horse.
We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've got too far. There's too much to lose. We've got
Dude. Okay, so a couple questions. How do we get to the point in the conversation about the party trick?
I don't know how we got there. I couldn't remember for my show, and that was like 24 hours later. I don't know how we got on that topic.
Okay.
I don't know how, but I used to be able to do it.
Second question.
Not everyone can do it, apparently, obviously. But
that's a hell of a thing to do if you can do it.
Yeah, it's a rare, if I lost 20 pounds, I know I could. But my fat ass kept hanging me up.
So second question, why do you have handcuffs, Smith & Wesson?
Don't act like you're not impressed.
This is the irony of the whole thing. I went to therapy, so I have claustrophobia real bad, where I wasn't even at a point, I wasn't even able to get into an elevator. So I went to therapy, and of course, you have to do the things that scare you. So I have to go in elevators. I have to do them weekly to keep that fear from getting bad. Another fear I have is being trapped. So if I'm handcuffed to a desk or something and I don't have the key, that would trigger the flight or flight, and then I'm supposed to practice. So my therapist told me to buy these for me, handcuff myself, give my wife the key, and have her go out and get the mail. Something real quick, and then slowly increase the time. But we never did it because I was always so chicken. So she didn't know how to undo them. If we had done that trick and they were in front of me, I could have said, honey, that's where the key goes. But we never did. So she did not know how to get the handcuffs off. And my mother-in-law didn't, and my father-in-law did it. So there you go. These were for therapy. And you know what? On Friday or Sunday, I got therapy, forced therapy, because I had to wait 20 minutes.
You know what? I all joking aside.
It's funny now. I was not in a good place.
All joking aside, I have very bad anxiety too. It's something that we connect over. And
if they're in front of me, it's one thing. When they're behind you, you feel so powerless. And then the fact that no one can get me out, it's a control problem. I am now at the world's disposal of, and then I start having anxiety. Like, what if there's an earthquake right now? What if there's an emergency and they can't get here and I can't help anybody? What if something happens to my father-in-law? He starts having chest pains. I mean, I start going through these racing thoughts, and that's where I have to go into the breathing and kind of relax. I'm okay. Everyone's okay. We're going to fix it. I just need to be patient. It was very intense.
I'm kind of with Daniel. That is intense.
That don't make no sense.
If my therapist sit there and said, go get some, my therapist said, go, anyways. but go
The
get
hard,
handcuffs.
I mean, elevators really are tricky. And I've gotten stuck in an elevator before. So then you devolve onto that because you're stuck in there. You aren't getting out without help.
Man, dude.
So, but anyway, look, I mean, the positive thing out of it is I was able to control. It's like my anxiety attacks are a scale 1 to 10. I kept it from going over 6.
Good.
And when I was locked in that elevator, I was at a 9 or a 10. I was like losing it. So it works. The therapy works. The breathing works. Problem is I couldn't think about how to get out of them because I was too busy trying to focus on calming myself down. That every time I started thinking like, well, maybe the neighbor has bolt cutters or whatever, then I'd start escalating again. So anyway, it's funny. It's funny, but it definitely wasn't at the time.
No, I mean, with the police, like, you're gonna get the bill now. I mean,
no. And
I want winners.
I told him, I said, I apologize for wasting on. It was 6 firefighters and 2 cops, 2 patrol cars.
Oh my gosh.
And 6 firefighters. And here's the thing. This is what I said on my show. I guarantee the fire department, they're probably eating dinner or whatever. And they're like, oh, this guy's locked in handcuffs. We only need 2 guys. The pickup truck will work. We just need to go out there with bolt cutters. And they're like, hell with this. I want to see this moron. They all fucking get up, load up all the trucks. I got to see this. I got to see this. Is he naked? What's going on? Is he handcuffed to the bed? And same thing with the cops. They're probably like, hell, let's all meet over there. I mean, who doesn't want to see an idiot lock himself into handcuffs?
You are the best. Hey, really quick, we were talking offline. I have not talked about this whatsoever. I'm going to give you the floor about the Giants trade.
Let's talk about the Giants trade. So, all season we have had so many games where we have either lost a game by 1 run or won a game by 1 run. Our defense is very good. Our pitching is very good. We just don't have the bats. So they were looking for a bat. Of course, in the offseason, the last 2 off seasons, we tried to go after Aaron Judge. We went after, I forget the guy. We signed a guy. He didn't pass his physical. And there was another big bat we've been going after bats, and they just aren't coming here. So Boston decided, well, not decided, but they, in the offseason, okay, so 2 years ago, they signed Rafael Devers to a 10-year contract, $310 million. And he's third base. And in the offseason, they got another third baseman, Bregman, who's a better defender. Rafi is not a very good third baseman. He's average. And they got a top stellar defender, third baseman. So they told him he was going to go to DH, and he was upset. He was like, you guys didn't tell me this when we were negotiating the contract. We're a year and a half into it, and now you're moving me to DH? So he goes, okay, I'm going to go to DH. And then their first baseman got hurt. He's on IR. And so now they're like, well, we want you to play first base now. And he's like, oh, hell no. I'm not good enough to be on the – anyway, they just really didn't communicate very well. It got to an impasse. He was not happy there. The owner went on the road and met with him, realized that there was no fixing this, and they decided to cut that salary. The Giants only gave up a bad pitcher, a couple of prospects, 2 bad pitchers with an ERA of like 6, and 2 prospects that may or may not pan out. They weren't our best prospects. So we got him for nothing. They were looking to get rid of all that salary. I think their worry was, if we don't do this now and then it gets out there that he is more unhappy than he is, his value is going to go lower. And they might even say, we'll make a trade, but we want you to cover part of his salary. So I think Boston was looking to get out of the contract and not have to pay anything towards it. So the Giants have eaten the entire contract and they gave up basically nothing. But they took the contract on. Now he's here and he's saying he will play anywhere. So I think it was just, he felt that they kind of put a knife in his back and didn't treat him very good. And so now he's willing to be a team player. It gives us a really good bat. So we have Ramos, who is starting to be a deep ball threat, but he had no protection. Now we have Devers to protect him. And then Matt Chapman who plays third base. He's our Gold Glove third base. So Devers will not be at third base. Chapman will be there. His bat is good. So once we get Chapman back, probably in about 2-3 weeks, we've now got hitters. But we had 6 games in a row where we won by 1 run. They were all close, and they're all nail biters. And as a fan, as long as I'm winning, I'm happy. But they were nail biters. So it gives us a really good bat.
Well,
So
you
I'm
got
happy with it.
you got to do what you can when you got the Dodgers in that
And the Padres.
division
The
and the
NL West
Padres.
is deep, and the Diamondbacks aren't pushover. When you play the Diamondbacks, that's going to be a hard fought series. So yeah, it is a nuclear arms race in the NL West, and we just need to get another bat to be competitive. So what's interesting is tonight the Giants are playing the Red Sox, the team that traded Devers. So it'll be interesting to see. He wants to put one out of the yard against his old team, the team that he felt didn't do right by him. So I'm excited. I just wanted a bat. I wanted one more bat. I didn't care if it was a batter for average or power. We need one more bat to get some of those runs that we're stranding on the bases. And now we've got it. So he's got to get comfortable. He had 2 RBIs in his first game, had an RBI yesterday, I believe. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
Sweet. Well, dude, thanks for the baseball update. Thanks for clarifying. You are no longer you are no longer on King's Court probation. I hereby release you.
If I do something idiotic, it's going to end up on the shows. I mean, it's content at my expense, but it is content. So.
Yeah. Speaking of shows, what you got going tonight?
Tonight, I've got a full lineup. I've got Gail on my show. She's, Jim Rome clone Gail. She comes in your chat. So Gail's going to be co-hosting with me at 5 p.m. Pacific. Then we have marble races at 6. I give away prizes on that. You get a marble, and we play music, and we race. Some of your guys in the chat right now show up for that. And then I take an hour break at 8 p.m. Pacific. I play 2 or 3 hours of music on Mixcloud. So it's a DJ show. You request your music, and I will play it.
It's like MTV, but it's Haunted Horse instead of Carson Daly.
Yes, or Pauly Shore, yeah.
There you
go.
go.
It's fun. It's fun. You can request your music. You can listen to other music. What I like about that show is people will request songs. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I love that song. So you get everybody's tastes, and you remember some music that, or they have a new song, and you're like, oh, that's nice. What is that? Oh, it just came out. Wow, nice. So it's got a really good chat. Everyone's hanging out in the chat. A lot of people are drinking a few pops. So it's really relaxing few hours on a Friday night to get your weekend kicked off. So
go check it out. All right, man.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not? The one and
yeah,
only.
Peter's right. Tadora keeps winning the marble races. She's getting all the prizes. Baki's daughter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's probably cheating.
That's what we think.
Yeah,
she's half in the marble races.
She's writing
somehow, some way.
She's in school to write computer code.
Hey, everyone, have a great weekend.
I echo that. Thank you. Appreciate that, buddy.
Good.
All right. See you soon.
Game 7? When's game 7? Sunday?
Sunday.
All right, cool.
Yep.
So I will be watching.
All right. Love it. Haunted Horse, the one and only. I had to let him come clear the air. Good Giants information there. You don't get much baseball from me. But that is a heck of a story. That is a heck of a story. I can promise you this. You can probably find me at Bennett's this weekend for brunch. It's how you bring in your 41st birthday. You go to brunch at Bennett's in Roseville. Actually, Rockland, the West Side Grill. Sit on the patio. 11 to 2 p.m. Come say hello. Not sure which day, but one of the days. Definitely be there. If brunch is not your thing, no worries. Dinner is spectacular as well. Prime cuts of seafood and steak at Bennett's. Got great options on the lighter side as well. They've got really a little bit of everything. And when I say everything, I mean like everything. You want ribs and fried chicken, ahi tuna, some of my favorite stuff at all 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento area, whether it's the West Side Grill in Rockland, Roseville, or Howe and Fair Oaks. Also, the different specials that they got going every single day for the most part. Actually, yeah, every single day. Happy hour, 2 to 6 p.m. Prime rib, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, and then also during the week, other specials like Monday night wine and dine, etc. Get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can check all that out and more. You can make reservations. You can buy gift cards. And I can promise you, Brian and the team will not handcuff you with the prices and or a bad meal. They will take care of you for sure. So let them know what you heard about them here on the channel and vice versa. Let us know when you go in so we can share that with Brian. They love hearing that. So huge thanks to Bennett's for sponsoring today's King's Court. That is Bennett'sRestaurants.com. 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento area. All right. I saw some really good chat that we got to get to. Dennis, so does Sacramento. I wish the A's would move. So does Sacramento. Get out of Sacramento. Can we trade the A's? It has been a monumental failure, and we have not even gotten to the middle of the summer. Holy bleep. It is going to change once you get to the summer. Attendance is going down. Go watch Zach Campbell's video of the he went to a series. Which series was it? It was the it's gonna kill me that I'm not remembering this. Anyways, Zach Campbell, the dude that chases the foul balls, he did like videography of all of the games. People leaving in extra innings, families sitting out on the in the outfield, literally just playing games. It's sad. I don't know what happens to the A's. Nobody wants them. Daniel says he's over the A's experiment. It's not going to be for more than a year. I promise you that. Tib could be a dude, but we already got a dude in Devers. MLB still making some moves. See, I can't really chime in so much on that conversation because I'll watch during the playoffs. It's too slow for me. It is too slow for me. Let's see. I saw some other stuff. Redfish, absolutely. There was something that I wanted to get to from Justin. There it is. Thank you, Justin, for your service as being a retired law enforcement. What you said about everybody wanting to show up, it's accurate. There you go. And then Peter also somewhere he's going to put in the public record request for that cop video. He is spot freaking on. I don't know what the laws are in Oregon, but if it was California, they have to turn it over to you in 7 days. 10 days, excuse me. So I think I'm going to look into that now. Maybe we will be able to get video of that. Poor haunted horse. Poor guy. Yeah, it has been a little bit better. Vivek's Magic. Look, you already know that when you lie down with the dogs, you're probably going to catch some fleas. And that goes both ways with Fisher and Vivek Ranadive, right? So let's take it a step further. Why would Vivek Ranadive want Major League Baseball in Sacramento? You already don't have a basketball team that you're taking care of properly. Logistically, it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. In the short experiment that we've seen with the A's, it hasn't worked. from an attendance standpoint. So why would Vivek just be so open to giving his ballpark to John Fisher? I think it's a very, very, there's nothing to report per se, but I think there's some very interesting work that could be done around that. I say that because when the Sawyer was built, the Sawyer had some liens against it. Almost right as it opened, there was a lien put against it. And Vivek owned a condo in that building, but that building in that hotel is very closely connected with the Kings. The Kings have offices there. Obviously, the road teams stay at the Sawyer, but how does the Sawyer do outside of basketball season, right? Because basketball team and the trainers and the staff, you're talking about maybe 40 people on the road. Well, you've got 33, I believe, 31 or 33 players just on the roster in baseball. And you've got more games at home than you do in basketball. And so when I look at that, it's like, okay, well, you're filling up the Sawyer almost year round. You go from basketball to baseball to basketball again. And then I took a step deeper and I'm like, okay, well, let's look at this. So I challenge any of you, start looking into this. I just find it really interesting. The Sawyer Hotel is owned. Check this out. Let me type this in really quick because I wasn't prepared to talk about this. So I'm like, okay, well, who owns the Sawyer? The Kimpton Sawyer Hotel in Sacramento is co-owned by JMA Ventures LLC and the Sacramento Kings. I took it a step behind that. JMA Ventures is a group of independent investors that come together to own properties. I really think there's a look, I'm shooting off the hip. This is reckless speculation. This is not reporting. This is just pointing out the facts. Like, was this a play to keep that building full? That's why you give your ballpark away, right? Who paid for the renovations? There. 3 years. 3 years. And Vivek owns the Rivercats, by the way. 3 years is what it was supposed to be downtown or in West Sac. But the players union is pushing back. And I'll tell you this, they are getting nationally, from a national standpoint, the A's are getting crapped on. East Coast media has been talking about, thank goodness the A's aren't doing well again. Because could you imagine playoff baseball at that park? And then the next thing that comes up is obviously what's going on with the Rays, and the Rays playing at Steinbrenner Field. But that's a whole different story because that's a complete facility for baseball. That's where the Yankees have spring training. Just go Google where the Rays are playing. Sure, the stadium's about the same size, but the facilities are adequate for Major League Baseball, or at least much more adequate for Major League Baseball than Sacramento. So I bounced it off some people because I just think it's interesting. JMA Ventures, San Francisco-based real estate firm, was involved in the development of the downtown commons and the Sawyer Hotel, including residences. The Kings organization partnered with JMA Ventures. I think it's really interesting. Why else would you host? Why else would you host the Oakland Athletics? Somebody do the work. Maybe I'll start digging into it. I just think there's something more to that. I haven't heard anybody else draw a direct line between those two, between the A's and Sacramento, and filling up the Sawyer. Now, a baseball team doesn't fill up the Sawyer, but a baseball team that has probably, coming into this, what was the thought coming into this? I said it. I think a lot of A's fans said this. It was, oh, well, it's an intimate ballpark. So the other team's fans are going to travel to come see their team up close and personal. Remember the Yankee series with Aaron Judge? It's like getting a chance to be at a spring training game, yet it's a Major League Baseball game. Well, I don't know the numbers on the fans that have traveled, but I'm sure part of that bet was, yeah, you're going to have people come. And maybe that continues to get better as the summer goes along. I doubt it because the temperatures go up. You know, the River Cats have to do certain things. The Stockton Kings have to do certain things. And by the way, Stockton has been great. The way that they manage the business, and they have days, like Stockton will have early days, like 11 a.m. games, and they'll make those days elementary school day. And they have different schools out to the game, stuff like that. That's what you have to do in Major League Baseball. Or in minor league baseball. You got to have those gimmick nights. To a degree, you have to have them in MLB as well. So I just think that there's something in my gut tells me Kimpton Sawyer or Kimpton Hotels and Restaurant, while not an owner, Kimpton manages the hotel. Okay. So there's your third party managing the hotel. Look, maybe it doesn't matter to any of you. I just think that there's something more to that. Nobody lost more in the A's move here than the fans that paid for the premium box season tickets. Tell me more, Daniel. I don't know much about that. I know the prices were crazy. Fisher selling the MLS Earthquakes to pay for part of the Las Vegas stadium. See, but that's what's so incredibly weird to me. Well, I say they're kind of homeless, right? Because ground really hasn't broken on the stadium since I last checked. The hotel was already knocked down, and before that, they stopped taking reservations and closed it. And then you've got Vegas that's saying, we don't want them. We don't want them. The city council has said that baseball will not do good in Las Vegas. It will not. It's too slow. If you're betting on the older retired people that live in Vegas coming out, I just don't see it. There's better things to do, like golf. I just don't see it. We got Adam Oos coming up here in a few minutes. We'll get to some more of your comments. By the way, I am going to tape a podcast tomorrow. So a couple of announcements. First off, I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow, which is going to be audio only. So you got to go to the King's Court with Rhino on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. That's going to be my Game 7 preview. So I will have that up tomorrow. Probably my guess would be by noon. So you can have that and check that out. I'll give some other thoughts too. It's my 41st birthday, so I'll kind of do a retrospective on this last year and the channel and all of you, and send some shout outs to everybody. And then Sunday, Grant and I are doing a post-game show. For Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And I will dig in to Game 7 like I dig into the Kings, like if they were playing in Game 7. So you will have a thorough setup for you to listen to before Game 7. Mac, thanks for the time. What's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, baby's asleep, so I'm doing great.
Excellent.
I just had two things to say. One about the you asked why would Vivek want the A's here. I just had a sneaky feeling because I know that he had prior ties with Fisher beforehand. I think I remember being acquaintances or whatever,
Mhm.
reading about that. I think that he knows that Gap. I mean, we look at Gap stock in the Fisher family. They're losing more and more. They're going to go It's going to go bankrupt. They're having to sell their team because they can't qualify for a loan in Las Vegas. My thought is, I think Vivek is seeing an opportunity and might want to position himself as an owner of Major League Baseball. That's my guess of why it happened, because then he's connected. He can move in. I mean, that was my only, or even become partial owner of the A's. But I think he's seen an opportunity, and if he plays ball, he can rub shoulders with Rob Manfred, and that's really what I think is Vivek's motivating factor. Do you think that's?
Well, I'm
Do
sure
you think
there's
that's crockpot or
I'm sure that's part of it. I mean, he certainly got into minor league baseball with the River Cats, which I think the River Cats is a good business. It was a better business when it was the Giants affiliate. But with all due respect to Vivek, I don't think the money's there to be able to do both. I mean, if you're talking about a minority share in the A's, but knowing Vivek, he's not going to want to be a minority guy now that he is the general managing partner of the Kings. Maybe he thinks he can get him on the cheap. I don't know. But you're right. He did. If you're looking at it from a standpoint of trying to get in the good graces of Rob Manfred, that was a big problem that the A's had. A huge problem. Oakland says you can't play here. San Francisco says, well, we're not sharing our stadium with you. What are you going to do? And Vivek stepped up, but there's always going to be an underbelly or an underside to what you're doing. I mean, Vivek's a businessman. He's in business to make money. But yeah, it could be. I think there's a multitude of things, because it just, Mac, it doesn't make sense here in Sacktown. It doesn't.
Well, no, you'd have to build a stadium with a retractable roof, and that would be what? That would be over $1 billion, right? So no, I don't see them being in Sacramento, but I don't think Major League Baseball wants to be in Sacramento. I just wonder if he might make the move with them to Vegas, because they really, really, really want to. And I think another thing about Rob Manfred is I think he's stubborn, and I think he's going to make Vegas work whether it does or doesn't. He's going to force Vegas, and it's not going to work. Everyone has, the projections aren't there. It's going to be horrible. But I think I think that Major League Baseball is going to force it. And another thing is, it wasn't the fans' fault or whatever. I think what Major League Baseball doesn't want to say is they didn't want to be in Oakland anymore. They just didn't want to be there. And I know they're not going to stay in Sacramento because there's too much competition with the Giants, and this is a Giants area. And yeah, I think maybe Vivek wants to own them or have some ownership with them when they go to Vegas. Anyway, last thing, I like to go to basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling, and this is just my gut. It's on paper, I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that the Pacers are going to win. I just do. I think Tyrese Halliburton is going to be the MVP, because everyone's going to say, look, he played hurt. He had that game-winning shot in Game 1. I think if he just has an okay game, I think he's the MVP, and I think it's going to be close, and I think Indiana is very comfortable in close games, and they're comfortable with their backs against the wall. They played so loose last night, and they were prepared. I mean, there was no stress or anything. I mean, in my opinion, I think the pressure's on Oklahoma City. I feel like the Pacers
100%.
I feel like the Pacers almost have they're playing with house money. And then you
100%.
have Rick, and then you have their coach. They're they're going to come out very prepared. So just I feel like the moment isn't too big for the Pacers. And see, like on paper, yes, Oklahoma City might be the better team, but Game 7s, NBA Finals, I mean, it takes special people, special players to there's something. Not always the best team wins. There's some type of clutch factor or whatever it is, that's immeasurable, and I feel like the Pacers have that. Am I crazy for saying that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That's
What do
kind
you
of
think?
it was kind of how I started the show. I'll put the numbers back up for you.
I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I
you're
missed the beginning of it.
dude, you have nothing to apologize about. It's really how I feel as well in my gut. Even though I said yesterday the Pacers would win Game 6, the Thunder would win Game 7, I was under the assumption like Halliburton was going to be like Willis Reed hobbling out there on the court, and he isn't. And so that completely changes the game. I've got the numbers up right now, Mac. OKC had the highest net rating in the history of the NBA. Their turnovers to assists were insane, considered one of the best defensive teams, at least in the last 10, 15 years. And you've got the Pacers, and you look at like freaky numbers, 598 possessions in the finals for the Pacers, 599 for the Thunder. Pace 99.7 for both teams.
Right.
Like these numbers are so close, and I do think even though SGA is a better player than Tyrese Halliburton, I'm picking Tyrese Halliburton for that moment over
Right.
SGA. He's done it 2 or 3 times already this playoff season. So it really comes down to, can the Pacers withstand that first OKC push? If they can, like they did last night, because the Pacers started out down, I think it was 6 or 7, and then it just went nuts from there. They started hitting some threes. If they can withstand that push and TJ McConnell gets leaned on some more, I think I'm with you, man. And the pressure is on OKC, but the pressure isn't like you blow it up, you're changing things.
Right.
But I do think if OKC loses this series, you are going to have talks about Mark Diagno being fired.
Right. And we're, yeah, I agree. One last thing, and I want to hear your opinion, and I'll take it off air.
Yeah.
If the Pacers win the finals, I still believe that the Sabonis trade was a good trade for Sacramento. Where they fumbled is what they did after the trade. That's my take on that trade. I will never feel bad when I see Halliburton doing great things. Because I thought I still believe it was a good trade. They fumbled after they failed to follow up on it. Anyway, that's my take, and I'd love to hear what you say. And have a good afternoon, and a good birthday, and a good weekend.
Thanks, Mac. You too, brother. Dude, you just took my take from me. Like, are you in my head, Mac? Mac's come out of nowhere. It's one of the best callers on this show. It's my take. You hit the nail on the head. What more could Sabonis have done? I mean, sure. Maybe shoot from the mid-range, not hesitate as much. The Kings failed Sabonis, and De'Aaron Fox failed the Kings. I'm 100% with Mac. You don't break the playoff streak without Sabonis. And I will never hate on Halliburton for that trade. Incredible take, Mac. Freaking perfect. I couldn't have said it better. I don't even know why I'm trying to follow up on it. It's exactly spot on. You're getting love for it right now as well. Well done, man. God, Mac's come out of nowhere like a Mac truck on this show. Holy bleep. Love it. Really quick, let's wrap up this baseball conversation. Paul, I saw your comment. I'm not going to put it up, but I completely agree with you 100%. Like if Vivek's attention yeah, if his attention goes that way, maybe that's your dream scenario. And to I don't know who it was. Maybe it was Daniel that put it in the chat about MLS. I would be interested to see what the evaluation on the Earthquakes would be, because the price to start a new franchise, the entry fee to MLS is stupid. Like, it's incredible.
You just made the list!
It's like $500 million. I think there's some teams that are valued below that. There might not even be a team in that league that's valued at that. I just don't see how you can make money with a new franchise in MLS. So I'd be interested to see what that number is if they do go up to sell. All right, Fridays. We always talk a little bit of wrestling around here. A lot going on in the wrestling world. Liv Morgan, one of our favorites, got hurt. This guy, I do not believe, was in handcuffs. He might be in handcuffs right now, but he is our wrestling correspondent, my man Adam in the house. What's up, brother?
What's up, bro? What's going on? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. For those that don't know, Adam is a legit Uso. He was brought in by Jay. So that's a true story.
It's true. Our boy Jay, who was the mystery entrant for the
Yeet! He was. See, I didn't even finish Raw or SmackDown.
Oh, well, that's a spoiler.
Okay, so Jay's the mystery man, eh?
Yeah, and he wins. Why? Jay had the belt when you had the mystery entrant. So you were planning on putting Jay Uso in the King of the Ring tournament as a champion? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you put him in place of the championship.
No, what I'm saying is that they've had this mystery entrant for the King of the Ring for several weeks now.
Yeah.
But Jay only just lost the belt.
Right. That's why they made it a mystery entrant, because
no one wants Jay Uso in the King of the Ring.
I don't disagree with you. I don't think anybody wants Jay Uso to win the King of the Ring.
I don't think anybody wants him to win.
I mean, no offense, but
yeah, we love him. But
I mean, him dropping the title did completely come out of nowhere. That blindsided me.
Did not blindside me.
Really?
Well, I'm a Gunther guy, but I think, I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm like, which one of the reigning title, like anyone who's holding a belt right now,
yeah,
who's having a good run during their title reign?
Wow, that's a really good question. There's been criticism of WWE for not booking their champions well outside of Cody when he had it.
And I liked Cody's stuff, but I still think there was something there to be desired with Cody's year-long run.
I thought it was pretty good. I maybe outside of the Orton thing, I would say that. I think that they're not doing a good job with the championships. Maybe the Street Profits. You know what? Lyra Valkyria, until she dropped it to Becky Lynch. That would probably be where I go.
Yeah, she's okay. I mean, like New Day, Street Profits. Street Profits did have a great match. I don't think they were champions then, though.
No, we were at that match.
Right. Did they win it there or no? Right. Dom, who has he faced? I know it's been short, but
yeah, it's kind of a transitional. My whole thing that I'm getting worried about is this Cena championship run. We're getting down to what now, like 14 or 15 events. So
yeah, we're hitting that mark. He's against R-Truth tonight.
I know.
Tonight.
So take another date off of that. I guess what I'm getting at is every single Cena match has been overbooked. And maybe this is the point because he's the anti-champion. He's changing the business because before, when he was the champion and he was in the middle of his run, it was like mega Cena. He was like Hogan. He was beating everybody, just rolling them, right? Never any help for the most part or run-ins. And the overbooking with his matches is like starting to me, kind of become insulting to the fans. Like where you're pulling referees out and that's not a DQ. Like, I just think it's a crappy way for him to go out, man.
Well, and we've got 6 months to go. And, let's say he does one appearance a week. That gives you 4 months of appearances. So I think, after SummerSlam, we're not, in my opinion, I don't think we're going to see a lot of Cena after SummerSlam until we get closer to the end of the year. So whatever that means, maybe it's more monthly check-ins from him as a champion. Maybe he loses the belt at SummerSlam and then comes back for, takes a little bit of time off and then makes a little run towards the end of the year. But I don't know. None of that makes sense. Like the dude's got the belt. You got 16 dates left with him.
It feels like is Cody in the King of the Ring tournament?
Yes.
Okay. So by the way, I want to make this clear. Triple H, I want royalties, bro. 2 years ago when they had the King of the Ring, I was like, they need to move the King basically instead of having the Elimination Chamber decide who gets that other championship match at WrestleMania, because the Royal Rumble is so big, right? It's the Rumble. That's how you get to WrestleMania, but then you could just win the chamber. Like, and I get the chamber.
You could main event night one if you win.
Well, yes, there you go. But make
or open night one.
Or open night one. Yeah. Make the King of the Ring winner get the other shot at WrestleMania. And all of a sudden now the King of the Ring, and I tweeted it out to him. Now the King of the Ring winner gets the SummerSlam shot. So give me my royalties.
They should.
They should. Absolutely. Here's where I'm going. I think it's under your idea about how Cena works. If he's dropping the belt at SummerSlam, it's got to be a double turn. And it's got to be Cody's heel turn.
I mean, unless you bring The Rock back, I don't know how you do that.
You don't necessarily need The Rock.
I think this storyline needs The Rock. We still need closure. We need the soul, sell your soul closure.
See,
from either Cena or Cody, somebody.
Yeah, see, I think that people have kind of, unless you're like a hardcore and you're reading the dirt sheets, I kind of think people have forgotten about The Rock.
I don't think we've forgotten about it. I think we've just moved on out of necessity because we don't think we're getting The Rock. I don't know. It's all weird right now.
I don't want The Rock. Like I'm kind of tired of his act.
I don't want him either, but you made yourself part of this. You made Travis Scott part of this.
It couldn't have gone any worse. It couldn't have gone any worse.
Nope. You went from one of the best WrestleMania buildups of all time to maybe one of the worst executioned WrestleMania.
And Travis Scott legit breaks Cody's face.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Which got Travis Scott into a bunch of trouble. Ever since McMahon had to step aside, the storylines have suffered. I disagree. I actually disagree, Daniel.
I think Triple H had a lot of ideas when he came out the gate, and now it's getting tougher to, have longevity in the storylines or whatever it is. But rumor is that TKO may be looking to offload WWE. And
hey, Vivek. Basketball ownership sucks, Vivek. Vivek, go on the WWE.
No,
is there a better world for Vivek Ranadive than the WWE?
Yeah,
it's his world.
At home on his couch without any ownership in any professional sports team or sports entertainment league.
Like, seriously, the WWE and Vivek Ranadive were made for each other. The B-list celebrities.
This is your ring.
Can you imagine like the interpromotional fights between Vivek and Tony Khan?
Yeah,
like, it was so good. Must see.
I think I'm good on that. I would rather Vince buy it back.
No, Vivek, man. I would rather Vince own the Kings.
Yeah, I would go. I can get behind that. Let's just have them trade. All right.
Yeah.
Then you trade your TKO stakes for Vivek's King stakes.
Yeah, the problem is I'm not sure that Vivek wants that liability transferred over.
Hey, you know what? At least the Kings games would be exciting next year.
Yeah,
it would be entertaining.
I think Dirty Dom's too good for Celebrity Row, personally. That's just me.
Bonus versus Goldberg.
Yeah. Goldberg and Gunther is going to be a horrible watch. Freaking men. So I posed this to you. I sent this to you today, and you hit me with like a, huh? It was basically this. Goldberg didn't say that it's his final match, which led a lot of the internet community to think, is Goldberg going to win the title from Gunther, which I think would completely crap on Gunther's character even more. But here's the thing. You've got Money in the Bank floating around. So there was a press release that WWE put out today saying that it was actually, they were updating ticket sales, and it said Goldberg's last match, but we still have a scenario where you could have Goldberg's last match, him win the title, and Seth cash in.
God, wouldn't that just be the worst?
The worst.
That would be the worst. How much more damage do you want to do to Gunther? The guy is the most chopped dude in your entire, I don't know.
Do you remember what they did with Goldberg when he came back for his first last run with WWE?
Yeah.
Where
Well,
he smashed Brock Lesnar in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, and so a lot of people are crying out about that. I think he's had 9 matches since 2018 or something like that. He's only won 3 of them. So yeah, you do have the one-offs like that, but you've also got a lot of Goldberg losses in the last 5 years or so. So, either way, like if we're looking at this thing, at face value between these two, I just don't think you've built it up enough for us to care. Obviously with someone like Goldberg, man, you probably already have your feelings about him, but I don't know that anyone's is invested in this match as they could be.
If I'm being honest, I don't think anybody cares.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least build a little more. like the only times we've had interaction between Gunther and Goldberg were 9 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever it was, where he had the run-in with Bret Hart and then he had the run-in with Goldberg, and we haven't really seen much until now. And now it's like, all right, cool, it's on in a couple of weeks. It's Saturday Night's Main Event. It's just weird.
Well, because it's in Atlanta, and then you throw this into the conversation. Liv Morgan's injury, they had to completely rebook the Evolution pay-per-view.
Yeah, and it is a bummer. And I think, we were probably headed towards a Bella Twins versus Liv and Raquel. But I think, her injury in a way could set up exactly the same turn we saw at SummerSlam last year. God, that was a year ago, where Dom sides with Roxanne, and you do the same story with Roxanne and Dom.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Liv and Dom. So I think you could turn it that way. More than anything, like, can we just please disband the Judgment Day at this point and figure out a way to break them up? Because
it's so bad. It's on life
Liv's
support.
going to be out 6 months probably. So you're going to come back, like, Liv's back in 6 months for WrestleMania, and she's still in Judgment Day with, I mean, they're on life support. Not that it's like a bad, like, they're not bad, but we're just done with it. And it's like, let's move on.
They're dragging out the inevitable way too long, right? With this, like, teasing about Finn, passive aggressive and not being out there at certain matches. Yeah, I'm definitely over.
I mean, thinking about it, it feels weird for Dom to side with Roxanne and then split from Judgment Day, because there's this tie between Roxanne and Finn, it feels like. So unless you can do a Dom, like, tries to hook up with Roxanne and then she flips on him with Finn and they oust him, that automatically takes Liv and Raquel out of Judgment Day. That puts Finn and Roxanne in their own little world. And then JD McDonough's, maybe he joins Pure Fusion Collective or something.
By the way, Jacob Fatu, that's probably the strongest book champion.
Yeah. I mean, but is that a symptom of the booking, or we just freaking love Jacob Fatu?
I love that dude.
Love him.
He's
too good.
Okay, so we saw him in person, and we weren't sitting ringside, but we had really good seats, and the dude's a freak. His intensity, his body, like, he is a freak. And then that leads me, we'll close with this guy.
He's got everything you want.
Rumor is LA Knight might be moving to Monday Night Raw. I think that's good for him.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do something with him. I don't care what show you put him on, but you haven't done this dude any favors. And you need to do something with him, because I don't know, you gave Jay a title. He's just as over as Jay.
I feel like he's going to be the Royal Rumble winner.
LA Knight? That's like 8 months out.
I know.
The dude's 40.
We were talking about this with, we were talking about this with Jay. 8 months out.
It's a complete crap. He needs some action sooner.
Where's it going to come? Is he going to be okay? So
you can't put him back in the U.S. Championship.
Okay, hold on. So let's go here, because we've kept having this conversation about who is going to be the one that ultimately gets the Cena rub. Could it be LA Knight?
No, he's too old. I don't think you're going to give him the rub when he's maybe got a couple years left.
Okay, so that means Damian Priest is too old, too. And mind you, these guys are wrestling into their...
Yeah.
Orton signed till he's what?
I know.
50-something?
I know. When's the last time Orton held a belt?
When's the last time Orton's looked better?
Yeah,
the dude's freaking
he looks
jacked.
pretty good.
But seriously, like as we get closer to it, it's not going to be R-Truth. It's not okay. Cody, realistic. I think Gunther, realistic.
King of the Ring?
No, I'm talking about who beats Cena for the belt. I think Gunther would be a perfect choice.
He would be incredible. They're not going to do it, but they might do it because, okay, what about Crown Royal? What the hell is the name of that thing?
Crown Jewel in Australia.
Crown Jewel. I always want to call it Crown Royal. Maybe you could add a stipulation in there that Gunther beats Cena at Crown Jewel and he gets both the Crown Jewel and the Universal. But is Gunther going to make it that long?
I'm just saying we're closer to that story developing of who it's going to be. And if you get Cena with the amount of dates that he has left, if you end up with a Cena and Cody match at SummerSlam, that's going to be the turn. That's going to be the double turn. And you can do it without The Rock. You can have Cody work completely as a heel and then do a crappy finish.
But how do you turn John Cena back to a good guy?
That's what it does. That's what you do. I mean, that's how you pull off. People have sympathy for what Cody did to Cena.
Well, he's got to go
right
over the top.
Right. That's how you do a double heel turn or a double turn. But that would be the place for it. MetLife Stadium, New York City, basically WWE headquarters in Stamford. But then it's like, is Cody really... Cody doesn't need it. That's the thing. Cody doesn't need it. But that's where the heel turn helps because fans are going to be pissed. They're like, okay, here's Super Cody, just like you used to have Super Cena.
I think they make too much money off of Cody being a good guy.
We will see. Tell everybody about what's on tonight on SmackDown since I'm ready to start.
Okay, so we got Ronathan Killings versus
and show your new cards too if you have any.
You know, the card game has been bleak. These things are selling out. They're sold out. So if you want to get a hobby box of WWE right now, 2025, it's going to run you about $500 for 48 cards. So you do the math there and tell me if you think it's worth it.
Yeah, not really.
Tonight,
hey, Bobby, happy birthday, buddy. Happy late birthday.
Hey, Dr. Bach. Doc Bach. Happy birthday, bud. We got Alexa Bliss versus Asuka.
Okay.
Here's the thing about the women's tournament. You got Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Roxanne, and Jade Cargill. And I think they're going to find a way for Jade Cargill to not win this thing. Even though the other three are about 4'11". So we got that match tonight. We got Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. Who do you think's coming out of King of the Ring on the men's side?
Interesting question. Probably Cody, because LA Knight's going to be feuding with the Bloodline.
Knight's out.
What's that?
He lost last week.
No, I know, but he's going to be feuding with them. He's taken out. So I'm thinking of the storylines.
Sammy's kind of a hot pick right now.
I know. I think probably. Is Sammy the guy that Cena puts over?
Sammy's never held a title.
I know. That's what.
Not a major title. And I think maybe he goes after Gunther because he's already beaten Gunther for the IC belt last year. I think if Sammy somehow beats Gunther again, then you could have a Rollins cash in on Sammy, and then that adds more ammo to Sammy's
Yeah.
fire against Seth.
I'm gonna say Sammy over Orton. Probably some funny business.
Yeah, I mean, who does it? It's probably got to come from Seth. Yeah, I'm with you, Justin. I do think it might be Sammy and Jay in the finals, and then they kind of have that out. Sammy has his match for the title, and then maybe Sammy and Jay get after it beyond that. I don't know. I think we're building towards like a War Games or something.
What if you're building to a Seth Cena, and Seth's the guy? Because
I mean, Seth's got to fight Cena at some point this year, right?
they've had some good matches in the past. Crazy. All right, we got to wrap up. Any other ones from tonight we should look forward to?
I don't know, man. This is all that we're showing on the website is Sami Zayn and Randy Orton, Ron Cena. You know what I mean? And then Alexa Bliss and Asuka. So we've got 3 matches that are on there. So probably some good mic work tonight. Maybe we get 2 promos with John Cena.
Punk will get involved somehow too
Who?
tonight.
Who?
Punk.
Oh, Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we will continue our debate about who Cena will ultimately put over, because he's not going out as a heel. He's not.
No chance.
No chance. Right? But I do believe he's done. Like, he's not going to Ric Flair. This is going to be it.
He's not going to take the title and leave?
No. You think he takes the title and leaves?
I kind of hate that belt, so I wouldn't be mad if it disappeared and we got a new one.
It's the main title.
I don't like the way it looks.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I don't like the way you look. Get out of here. I'm just kidding. Have a great weekend, dude. Appreciate
bro.
you. You just
All right.
made the list.
You just made the list.
All right. That's Adam Uso. Yeah. It's so good when Chris Jericho, whether you like him or not. And I don't know what the heck is going on with it. Can somebody explain to me what's up with Chris Jericho's chest? It's weird. Like, I don't sometimes, like, I can't pay attention to the match because I'm just like fixated. I'm like, what is it about? What? Anyways, the way he continues to recreate himself, like, throughout his career, it's incredible. But a lot of fun stuff today, not so fun stuff. I didn't get to the international calls. I do want to play those because I have both of them. They were pretty good from the second quarter of the game last night, topped off by the Siakam dunk. Here is the first one.
Halliburton tenta rouba a bola, faz o passe com Siakam!
It's pretty good. Now, here's the thing. The South Koreans, I'm sorry, I'm convinced they're like looking at each other in the face and doing this at the same time. Like, they've got it planned out, because this is the second time in the playoffs that they've pulled off the "what's up" after a big play. Check it out. Right? So anyways, you are going to get an NBA Finals preview from me tomorrow. So look for that on the audio platform. That'll be audio only, will not be live here on the channel. Also, Grant comes back at you 8 o'clock tonight. Join him. Hope you all have a wonderful and safe weekend. We'll check the comments before we get out. Jericho is on Mount Rushmore. I don't know about that. Baki, come to Texas. Yeah, Adam will show you a good time in Texas. He'll show you his Joe Hendry sticker. No joke. Dude's got a Joe Hendry sticker on his truck. Adam got so mad at me that I went away from gas with my car. He couldn't even look at it.
Say his name and he appears.
Baki in Greece. Jericho's promos were good. Baki's just following around tennis right now, man. All right, Justin, you have a great weekend as well. BJ, everybody, too many to mention. Mac killed it again. You know what that means? Somebody step up to Mac's level with the calls. Somebody out Mac. See if you can do it. Good stuff. Good stuff from everybody in the chat. We got to some interesting topics. I will give you my pick tomorrow. So make sure you look for that on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you find your podcasts. Grant, 8 o'clock tonight. Go Kings, light the beam. We're out. Court's dismissed.
Say his name and